I'm the Fantasy Guru, your spiritual guide to the top of your mini league. In this video, we'll be reviewing the dream team of the 2018-19 season, specifically the midfield and attack, and we're going to see what lessons we can learn in preparation for a new season of Fantasy Premier League. Our last video was on the goalkeeper and defense. The link is in the description below. But before we go any further, this channel will be regularly previewing, reviewing, scouting, and watching the Fantasy Premier League. So like the video and subscribe below. Let's face it, you're here. You could do with more friends. So lonely. Alright, let's get straight to an analysis of last season's midfield and attacking players. Quick reminder, we have two main statistics that we use to review a player's performance, over and above their total points tally, of course. These two are the points per match average and the points per million spent, or value as it's listed in the FPL game. Now, I'm not saying the other statistics are not important, I'm just saying if these two statistics combined to become a rapper from Atlanta, and all the other statistics also combined to make another rapper from Atlanta, and then the two of them got together to make a successful rap group called Outkast, our two statistics would either be Andre 3000 or Big Boy, depending on who you think did the heaviest lifting in that group. We could ask them and find out, but we wouldn't get a response from Big Boy until Andre 3000 wrote it out for him. Anyways, first up, Liverpool midfielder and Egyptian maestro Mohamed Salah finishes a second season running as the highest scoring FPL player in the game with an incredible 259 points. Along with his joint Golden Boot winning 22 goals and 12 assists, Salah led the way in almost every threat statistic you can think of. He was top for penalty box touches, goal attempts, shots in the box, shots on target and big chances. Salah only claimed 18 bonus points though. 25 players managed to surpass his bonus point total. Greedy Liverpool defenders, hogging all the bonus points, not allowing Salah to get any. He started as a central striker on 14 occasions last season, but he finished the season playing as a right winger, which is why he's been labeled as a midfielder once again in the 2019-20 season. There's two quick things to consider about Salah in preparation for next season. Number one, James Milner is the Reds' first choice option for penalties, but he turns 34 midway through 2019-20. So Salah as the deputy spot kick taker is likely to have the lion's share of penalties. Secondly, VAR is being deployed for the first time in the Premier League next season, and there may well be positive ramifications for those players who do take penalties for their clubs, like Salah. Or maybe we'll just have more memes and angry fans. We'll have to wait and see. Right, let's take a look at our two statistics, the Andre 3000 of the FPL if you will, the points per match average and the points per million spent. Salah scored 6.8 points per match, outlining his value as a reliable captain choice, and only outscored ever so slightly among starting players by fellow Dream Team midfielder Raheem Sterling. His points per match average at home was 7.74, while his points per match average away was 5.89. He started 2018-2019 at 13.0 million in the FPL, so he was never really gonna scoop any awards for best value fantasy asset. Yet, he did manage to make 19.6 points per million in terms of value. There were 25 FPL midfielders who had a superior rate of points per million spent than Salah though. Salah's price for the 2019-20 season has been reduced to £12.5 million, meaning he's likely to be in many FPL managers' squads from the get-go. Alright, our next midfield player in the 2018-19 FPL Dream Team is a sad one for FPL managers, because we say goodbye and salute an FPL legend, Eden Hazard. Whew, I'm not gonna have to worry about pronouncing that anymore. Hazard leaves the Premier League to play at Real Madrid, but he signed off in style, recording his best ever score of 238 points after 7 top-flight seasons with Chelsea. His previous best was 233 back in 2014-15. The Belgian also equaled his most prolific season for attacking returns, scoring on 16 occasions and creating 15 assists, and he has been involved in the highest percentage of his team's goals with a staggering 60%, and he racked up more bonus points than any other player in the game with 35. We're not going to dwell too much on Hazard because, well, he's not in the game anymore. But maybe Christian Pulisic, the 20-year-old attacking midfielder who Chelsea signed from Borussia Dortmund, might be his FPL replacement? We'll see. Right, the points per match average and the points per million spent. Hazard finished the 2018-19 season with 6.4 points per match, only bettered by fellow midfielders Salah and Sterling. Salah's value, or points per million spent, was at 21.6 points per million, a figure we don't expect to be very high for premium midfielders anyway. Salah's departure could open the door for some of the other Chelsea midfielders to become more productive FPL assets. Pedro and Willian have never really quite reached their full potential. Chelsea are banned from signing any new players for the next 2 transfer windows, so there won't be any new additions for us to choose from in FPL, aside from Pulisic and any other players who return from their respective loan spells. Next up, Manchester City's Raheem Sterling had another stellar FPL campaign. Another player achieving his best ever FPL tally of 234 points, scoring 17 goals and getting 15 assists. But what is probably even more impressive is his consistency in Pep Guardiola's notoriously rotation-prone team. Sterling was one of the most consistent starters this season in Manchester City with 31 starts. In fact, only Edison with all 38 games and Aymeric Laporte with 34 were started more times than he was. His explosive ability also shone through, coming in with 9 double-figure hauls during the season. Despite enjoying his strongest ever FPL season, there was also a bit of disappointment surrounding Sterling, especially during the double game weeks at the end of the campaign. When Manchester City enjoyed matches against Fulham away and Cardiff at home, he blanked in the first and was benched for the second. And despite playing 90 minutes against both Spurs and Manchester United in double game week 35, Sterling managed just 1 assist. But let's look at those statistics. What about his points per match average and points per million spent? No outfield player managed to equal Sterling's 6.88 points per match in 2018-19, outperforming last season's top scorer Mo Salah. And if he had played more than 31 games, Pep Guardiola's rotation strikes again. His points per million spent was 20.0. It was rather difficult to always have the premium midfielder in our teams, and many opted for Bernardo Silva or Leroy Sané as City midfield cover, at their own peril. Sterling sees another price bump in this upcoming season, starting at 12.0, and will likely have a high FPL ownership as the most reliable route into Manchester City's midfield. Senegal international Sadio Mane was yet another player who saw his best ever FPL campaign, scoring a 231-point haul. His 22 goals meant he shared the golden boot with Liverpool teammate Salah and Arsenal striker Aubameyang, and it also meant he scored more than twice the number of goals he had scored in the previous season. He only registered 3 assists all season though. Mane recorded the same number of double-digit hauls as Sterling, which was 9, and he was 4th among FPL midfielders for attempts on goal and efforts on target. Fun fact, over a quarter of Mane's efforts on goal in the 2018-19 season were headers. Another fun fact, Mane was the most owned midfielder in the top 10,000 FPL managers come the end of the season, sitting in 74.12% of these squads. I don't even have to say it by now, the people need to know. What about his points per match average and points per million spent? Mane scored 6.42 points per match. Salah, Raheem Sterling, and only very marginally Eden Hazard were the only outfield players to register more FPL points per match than Mane in the 2018-19 season. Returning 22.4 points per million spent, Mane was the best value premium midfield or forward option. By premium I mean 8.0 million and above in the game. So in my opinion, balancing points per match and points per million, Mane was the best FPL attacking player of the whole of last season. Mane comes in this season at 11.5 million, crucially 1 million cheaper than fellow Liverpool midfielder Salah. Although I think that won't be enough to offset the advantage of penalties and the consistent captain choice that Salah offers. Finally, among our Dream Team midfielders, we have a name perhaps many were not expecting to see on the list come the end of the season. Everton's Gylfi Sigurdsson, who finished the 2018-19 FPL season with 182 points. Another player enjoying his best ever FPL season. He scored 13 goals and created 6 more for his team. And with his set-piece duties, Sigurdsson stands to end up with more opportunities for points next season with the introduction of VAR to the Premier League. Sigurdsson created 1.9 chances per match, had 2.3 attempts, 0.9 of which were on target per match, and was involved in 37% of Everton's goals during the season. He was a player overlooked at the beginning of the season because many eyes were on his teammate Richarlison, but his consistency won through in the end. Everton's Icelandic number 10 was the 5th highest scoring midfielder in FPL. His points per match stood at 4.79, coming in 8th among midfielders, while his value, or points per million spent, sat at 24.6 at the end of the season. making him a solid player for his FPL owners. Sigurdsson received a small price bump to 8.0 this season, and Everton have mainly favourable fixtures in the opening game weeks. However, teammate Richarlison might be a more shrewd pick since he tends to start the season explosively. During the first half of last season, only Salah and Azar had scored more goals than the Brazilian among midfielders. Now, let's take a look at our forwards. Only 2 made the Dream Team. First up, it's a rare FPL Dream Team list that doesn't have Manchester City talisman Sergio Aguero in it. The Argentine racked up a total of 201 points, his best haul since the 2014-15 season. Aguero broke the 20-goal barrier for the 5th year in a row, scoring 21, just one shy in the race for the Golden Boot, and assisting 11, his joint highest total since joining the club in 2011. Almost the perfect captain, Aguero started 14 league matches at the Etihad in the 2018-19 season and blanked in only one of them, game week 37 against Leicester. His away form wasn't as great though, with only 9 attacking returns in all. Aguero started 31 of the 32 matches for which he was fit, so he is pretty much City's nailed-on striker. Aguero had the second most shots in the box throughout the season, with 92, only overtaken by Fulham's Alexander Mitrovic. Aguero had a chance every 21 minutes on average throughout the course of the campaign, more often than any other regular starting forward. Right, his key stats, or at least as far as we're concerned. Points per match, these stood at 6.1, better than any other forward during the season. He missed 5 matches all season, but was clearly very consistent in the matches that he did play. His value stood at 16.75, of course meaning that there were many other forwards like Jimenez who would have been cheaper, but none that would have given us the same consistent points per match. Aguero comes in this season at 12.0 million, and the question is, will Gabriel Jesus get more game time at his expense? Aguero just turned 31, but he's showing no signs of slowing down. Perhaps someone should be looking for a portrait in the attic of his house. Pep Guardiola's answer to Aguero's playtime remains to be seen, but as of now, he is likely to be one of the first names on the team sheet. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the enigmatic Arsenal striker, finished the 2018-19 season as the top-scoring FPL forward with 205 points, as well as a co-winner of the Golden Boot with 22 goals and throw in 7 assists to boot. Here's a conundrum though. Only 3.74% of the top 10,000 FPL managers had him in their teams by game week 38. Why? Well, there were several reasons. The first, of course, being his price, starting off at 11.0 million and reaching 11.5 midway through the season. Unai Emery's rotation with Lacazette was also a concern. The Gabonese striker failed to start in 6 of Arsenal's final 13 games. The fact that he finished top striker despite all this is a testament to his clinical finishing ability. His goal conversion rate of 23.4% was the second best among the regular starting FPL forwards, and on top of that, he proved on more than one occasion that he was capable of getting explosive returns, even from the bench. No striker had more big chances than Aubameyang last season, and no forward gained as many bonus points, with his being 32. Aubameyang's points per match stood at 5.69, with only Kane and Aguero having higher among forwards. His points per million spent were at 19.0, offering the best value for money among premium FPL forwards. That's those who cost 9.0 million or more. Aubameyang reprises his FPL price this season of 11.0 million and is likely to play a key role in Arsenal's attack under Unai Emery, assuming he doesn't get snapped up by any other teams. Though one could make a case for his teammate Alexander Lacazette to be just as good, if not a better option for the 2019-20 FPL season. Well, that's our 2018-19 Dream Team analysis complete. Hope you learned something that'll help you plan for next season. If you missed the last video featuring the defenders and goalkeepers, please click the link in the description below. Just a reminder to smash that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and if you enjoyed this video, caress that like button ever so lovingly. I leave you with this question. Do you agree with me that Sadio Mane was indeed the best attacking FPL player of the 2018-19 season? Drop a comment below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at FPL Fantasy Guru. Thanks, Fantasy Guru signing out for now.